In our last class, we discussed the use of Aristotelian cosmology by Chaucer in his Canterbury Tales. The self-introduction of the Wife of Bath proves that Chaucer would have been well versed with the astrology and the concepts of zodiac and the planetary influence. However, we should also understand that Chaucer's primary goal was the art of characterization. Chaucer used the idea of planetary influence on the person and developed these concepts to portray life and blood character. Another reference to science during Chaucer's time is to be found in alchemy. Aristotelian cosmology believed in the matter's characteristic of changing forms. If water is heated, it turns into air. Similarly, if base metals are heated, they can be transformed into gold. Chaucer's portrayal of yeoman and his tale of Kenan's Yeoman's Tale throws light on people's belief and superstitions about alchemy in his time. It is not clear whether Chaucer intended to include this tale in his story in the original version, as Kenan and Yeoman are not described in the prologue, but they catch up with the other pilgrims. Yeoman is the only attendant that the canon is carrying, so we have some idea about his spending ability. When the host asks Canon for his story, instead of Canon, it is Yeoman who starts introducing his master. And he praises his master in high sounding words with lot of exaggeration. Who, sir, my lord? Yes, yes, without a lie. He knows about mirth and also about jollity. More than enough. Also, sir, trust me, if you knew him well as I do, you would wonder how well and craftily he knows how to work, and that in a variety of ways. He has taken on him many a great enterprise, which would be very hard for anyone who is here to bring about unless they learn it from him. Despite how modestly he rides amongst you, if you knew him, it would be to your advantage. You would not forego his acquaintance. For great riches, I dare wager on that. All that I have in my possession, he is a man of great discretion. I tell you indeed, he is a remarkable man. I say, my Lord knows such esoteric science, but all his craft you cannot know from me. And yet, somewhat I help in his work, that all is ground on which we are riding until we come to the Canterbury town. He could turn all completely upside down and pave it with a silver and gold. When the host asks him if his master was such a great person, why is it that his wealth is not visible? Yeoman then confesses, he is too wise in faith, I believe. That which is done too much, it will not turn out right, as clerks say. It is a vice. Therefore, in that I hold him ignorant and foolish. For when a man has too great a wit, very often he happens to misuse it. So does my lord, and that sorely grieves me. The host asks him why his face is discolored. Yeoman tells him, I am so used to blow in the fire that it has changed my color, I believe. I am not accustomed to peer in any mirror, but to work hard and to learn to transmute metals. Thus, He acknowledges that his master is an alchemist, and inadvertently, he also acknowledges that his master deceives people. Too many folk we do delusion and borrow gold, be it a pound or two, or 10 or 12 or many greater sums, and make them believe, at the very least, that of 1 pound we can make two. Yeoman also explains the process of how they try to discover the philosopher's stone, but in each of their attempts they fail. When we are where we shall exercise our mysterious craft, we seem wonderfully wise. Our terms are so scholarly and so strange. I blow the fire until my heart faints. Why should I tell each proportion of the things that we work upon as on 5 or 6 ounces? It may well be of silver and some other quantity, and busy myself to tell you the names of orpiment, arsenic, burn bonds, iron clicks that are ground into the very fine powder, and how all is put into the earthen pot and salt put in, and also paper before these powders that I speak of here, and well covered with a lamp-shaped vessel of glass, and of many other things which were there, so that not a bit of the air could pass out, and of the slow purr and fast also, which was made, and of the care and woe that we had in purifying our materials, and in blending and reducing to powder of quicksilver called raw mercury. Despite all our tricks, we cannot succeed. The tale of yeoman ends with the moral purpose of not crossing the boundary of knowledge. Yeoman states that such acts like alchemy are like challenging the godly power and mechanism. In 1403, after Chaucer's death, an order prohibiting multiplication of metals was passed. On from the portrayal of alchemy in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, we will now discuss the Elizabethan cosmology. Comprehensive understanding of Elizabethan literature requires the knowledge of the concept of hierarchy established by the cosmology. The Elizabethans believed in the great chain of beings, and they believed that in humans, king is a primate, in beasts, lion is a primate, in planets, sun is a primate, in fish, it is the dolphin which is the primate, in tree, it is the oak which is the primate, in flower, it is the rose, which is the primate. In stone, it is diamond. In metal, it is gold. And then in elements, it is fire. So the ladder of intellect was like this, that you climb upwards from stone to flame to plant to beast to human to heaven to angel, and then ultimately one reaches God. Now, how did the Elizabethans depict all these? In Shakespeare's Richard II, Bolingbroke says, "Methinks King Richard and myself should meet with no less terror than the elements of fire and water. Be he the fire, I will be the yielding water. See, King Richard doth himself appear, as doth the blushing, discontented sun from out the fiery portal of the east. York, yet looks he like a king. Behold his eyes, as bright as is the eagle." In Antony and Cleopatra, after the death of Antony, Cleopatra praises him as, His delights were dolphin-like. They showed his back above, that the elements they lived in. Man occupied a pivotal place in this entire great chain of beings because man was a link between the beasts and the spiritual entities. In Hamlet, that is the reason why Shakespeare praises man as what a piece of work is man. We also get reference in the Elizabethan literature to music of spheres when Lorenzo and Jessica are discussing. We hear the dialogue between both of them mentioning explicitly the music of spheres. Lorenzo asks Jessica, "Sit, Jessica, look how the floor of heaven is thick inlaid with patience of bright gold. Thus not the smallest orb which thou beholdest, but in his motion, like an angel sings." We also find the references to the astrology and cosmology in Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus. And Dr. Faustus also, like Yeoman's Tale, throws a caution on not harboring hubris or arrogance, because science empowers a human being, and then if human beings exceed their limit in terms of arrogance or hubris, then this knowledge or the pursuit of knowledge turns into the pursuit of forbidden knowledge, and which can bring about the downfall of a person, or it can destroy the humankind. Thus, in Dr. Faustus, we find that Dr. Faustus trades his soul in exchange for knowledge. And towards the end of the drama, when the Satan comes to take his soul, at the time Dr. Faustus laments his previous agreement. But in between, he confesses many things which are noteworthy in line with the Aristotelian cosmology and astrology. Philosophy, we find this reference in Dr. Faustus. Philosophy is odious and obscure, both law and physic are for the petty wits. Divinity is the basest of the three, unpleasant, harsh, contemptible, and wise. It is magic that had ravished me. And we also find Dr. Faustus discussing with Mephistopheles about the globe and the position of the planets. Faustus says, "Come, Mephistopheles, let us dispute again. And the reason of divine astrology. Speak, are there many spheres above the moon? Are all celestial bodies but one globe, as it is the substance of this centric earth?" Mephistopheles answers, "All move from east to west in 24 hours upon the poles of the world, but differ in motions upon the poles of the zodiac." This is how we find that the Aristotelian cosmology, or the concept of natural astrology, the belief of people in heaven and hell, as we had discussed in Dante's Divine Comedy, and then the depiction of all these principles implicitly in Chaucer's work and then in the Elizabethan literature. We find the common thread lurking in all this depiction of science in the works of literature, in that the writers caution humanity that trading with science is a delicate enterprise, and if human beings do not use this newfound knowledge of science into the philanthropic purpose, then science can become the tool or instrumentality in the hands of human beings to destroy the world. And therefore, knowledge of science is always good, but the knowledge of science that is used for the philanthropic purpose for the community is better. In our next class, we would start discussing ontology, epistemology, and metaphysical poetry, and how the portrayal of all these concepts were made by John Donne and other hosts of metaphysical poets. Till then, enjoy the festivities. Goodbye.